were you looking at then, and what are we looking at now?
Thank you very much, Mike. Leaving no one behind means development must touch everybody in the society, whether high or low, living in urban centers or in rural areas, living in big countries or small countries. And that's the essence of that. And the idea of focusing on national averages, because we tend to be carried away by figures on national averages. And we tend to forego those are living behind national averages. And we know there are so many people that are living in hard-to-reach communities, in rural communities, that do not have electricity, that do not have water, that do not have toilet facilities, that do not have things that could make them to enjoy good living condition. And that is the focus. And we want to, again, look at what do we mean in terms of income inequality in sub-Saharan Africa. And we know we use what they call some kind of measure to know the distance between the haves and the have-nots. And we then realize that it is true Africa has been making progress in terms of economic growth, but is the growth benefiting all? That is the question. Now, we then realize that if you look at the worst 19 countries in the world in terms of income inequality, 10 of them are from Africa. 2, out of these, there is a region in the entire world that is considered to be the most unequal region in the world. That is the Southern African Development Community.
Let me jump in here, Ayo. Of course, we've seen countries work towards reducing the poverty reduction rates. And of course, Rwanda is one of these countries that has done significantly well. We're still looking at African nations that are doing really good on this particular conversation. But why are the policies that reduce poverty can't work in the same line with actually increasing equality? I mean, be it in income or anything else.
Thank you very much. One thing that we found in the book is that policies that help reduce poverty may not necessarily be the same that help reduce income inequality. There are 2 major policies that help reduce poverty anywhere in the world. Quality education. 2, high level of productivity.
All right.
Now, these help to accelerate poverty reduction. But if such policies are not complemented with strong and effective fiscal policies, effective distributional policies of government, then it will increase inequality. And that is the major message. And we always tell policymakers that the fact that you are doing well in poverty reduction does not mean you may necessarily do well in income inequality. You have to make sure your tax system is very progressive. The tax system that takes more from the rich than the poor. The social protection system that protects those that are more vulnerable to economic shocks, to social shocks, the climate change shocks, and some other natural disasters that cannot really defend themselves against. So once you have coping mechanism like safety net that take care of those, then once you complement it with high level of education, improved education, quality of education, education that is skill-based, and productivity of the national system, then you'll be able to directly reduce poverty and income inequality.
Ayo, before I let you go, of course, rather we're still talking about interesting stuff. We're looking at 10 out of the 19 most unequal countries in the world being from Africa. But also, something that got me confused there when I was reading the report is the fact that some of the most critical equalizing factors include FDI flows. And we're seeing a rise in foreign direct investment in Africa, of course, with East Africa taking the chunk of this. But tell me now, if this is actually a problem, and of course the unequal distribution of socio-economic and fiscal facilities, what do we do next?
Thank you very much. There are 2 things we really know to be very important. It is true FDI plays a strong role, but it plays a double role. It could be an equalizer and it could be a disequalizer. In countries where FDI is directed to sectors where the largest majority of the population are engaged in terms of livelihood, it helps to reduce poverty and reduce inequality. Now, but once you focus foreign direct investment in extractive sectors, it continues to increase inequality. Because most of the extractive sectors are not linked to the rest of the economy. So as this extractive sector grows, the other sectors of the economy are not growing. They are not generating the maximum level of jobs that will take people out of poverty, that will reduce the gap between the haves and the have-not. So that's why you need to have a strategic policy of making sure foreign direct investment does not go so much disproportionately into the extractive sector. Let them go into agricultural transformation, where majority of Africans are involved, because productivity in the agricultural sector does not only enhance productivity in the agricultural sector, but it enhances productivity in other sectors of the economy. Small-scale enterprises will boom, especially when it comes to value-added activities into agro-processing factories and services. It enhances income. It enhances the ability of people to move out of poverty substantially, while at the same time denting inequality. And I want to just, again, based on the message we got there, is that one of the major drivers of inequality is the over-concentration of national assets in urban centers. We need to make sure educational facilities, health facilities, infrastructure, roads, rails, reach rural communities, electricity reach rural community. This is one way of really denting inequality, both income inequality and poverty at the same time. So we need to focus on that and make sure we have a very strong, effective, well-targeted social protection that take care of people that are always affected by the growth process.
Thank you for joining us, Ayo.
It's really a pleasure.
All right.